Hello, my name is Robert Dailey, and it's time for our 2020 shop tour. Overall, my shop hasn't changed significantly, but all the small changes we do have added up to be just a huge improvement in efficiency, organization, getting things done. This shop tour is an honest shop tour. This is the state of our shop almost every day when we start work. We make a big push to 3S our shop every day: sweep, sort, standardize, keep it clean. No, it's not perfect. Yes, there's sawdust on the floor, but overall our shop stays pretty clean and organized because it makes us more efficient and helps us get more done. Going back and looking at my previous shop tours and pictures from when we moved in, this is an entirely different space. So I'm gonna put some pictures in over this of our shop whenever we first moved in, like the first day that I got to walk in it, where it had a single light and one 50 amp breaker on 110, which is not safe, to now where we have our own sub panel. We've got tons of lighting, we've got 220, we've got plenty of breakers for everything, insulation, air conditioning, just a huge change overall. So go back and watch my 2019 January shop tour to see where I've come. And now you can look at this, and I'm gonna try to do this every year in January, up to the point to one day we move out of this shop and I move into a new space, and I'll do the same thing there. Let's start giving you the tour. Right now, this is right at the door to my shop. There is a garage door here, but currently it's non-functional just because it's like disintegrating on itself, and we put some stuff there that keeps it from opening. Eventually we are going to put a barn door right there so we can get stuff in and out. But let me pivot us around. So this is the same spot that I just rotated the camera around. Still kind of our painting and finishing area. Right here, I just used a scaffold that I never used, put some shelves on it, and I use that for my painting rack. One, it rolls, and two, for what you can buy a big heavy-duty metal shelf for, you can buy that for and get some awesome casters for it. So for 200 bucks, you can do that, and I like it for my painting supplies. So all my painting supplies are there. Tools I never use are up there, like my jacks and cut-off saw. One thing we also did, because we don't have water out here, is we put a 5-gallon bucket of water out here. We don't drink it, but it's used for like our paint guns, thinning paints, cleaning our hands, wiping stuff down. And so if you don't have running water out to your shop, seriously, a 5-gallon bucket with water in it is awesome. So this is the main door that we use. I've got a whiteboard here that I haven't really used yet. Up here is just a shelf I put with some cardboard boxes for when I need to ship small things. All my moving blankets for when we're hauling stuff or covering stuff. We use carpet padding to pack our products for shipping. We got one right here that's ready to go. And I've got my dad's old welder right there, and a cutting torch behind there. Over here, we still have just our basic shelves with paint supplies and things on them. Door to my wife's craft room, and the little corner that's my office. Some stuff here, and insulation throughout the shop, which has been a huge improvement. One thing that I am moving towards, and I've been doing this honestly for years, are my modular shop cabinets. I have plenty of videos on this already on how to make these, how to lay out a jig. Essentially, this one cabinet is the same size across my entire shop, which means this drawer right here that's just holding some supplies will fit in any cabinet in my shop because they all ride in those dados. So I've been making carts with really good casters. Don't cheap out on casters, guys. And this is my paint cart. So I roll it out. I've got my hose there. I've got an extension cord on it so I can just roll it wherever I want it, inside or outside, and have it ready to go. Everything's labeled in its place. So this is the view that we had when we first started this video. To my right is my garage door that I already told you was non-functional. Here we keep our work orders. So we have our in progress, our next order, and in queue, and that says order materials. It's basically reminds us, okay, this is what we have coming up. These are the jobs that are gonna come up as soon as these two are done. So we need to order materials, make sure everything we need for that job is here. So I need to go back and print my next orders. Up there are our goals for the year. We're still working on defining those for the business and every person in our shop. Another kennel that's getting picked up this afternoon. And now just a little shop cart I have with some cabinets I'm working on. So typically this area is free. That gets to my lumber rack back there. I don't remember if I had this lumber rack in January of last year or not. I think I had my other lumber rack, but we completely rebuilt this. Everything's sorted. I have place for plywood, offcuts, insulation falling down because I haven't put OSB up yet because everything here is a work in progress. And I actually need to reorder lumber because it's empty, but this will hold almost 120 sticks, which is a unit size of 1x12 pine for us, which we get a huge discount on if we can buy it in that volume. So that's one thing I've tried to do with that. So that takes up a big hunk of my shop, but it also is nice to have all of my lumber right there and have a good place for it. Here is another of my mobile shop carts. Again, same modular cabinet system. I just had some blue paint. I painted it to just look nice because I wanted something to look nice. Have my tool belt right there that hangs right there. Same good locking casters. And again, you see that modular drawer system that can fit in any other cabinet. So if I want to rearrange, I can easily do that. And every unit is a multiple of the next. And those are the old drawers from my first version of that. This is just my little mobile cart that I use. It uses the micro jig match fit dovetail clamps, and you can tell we do use it. My son learned to write his name. We do use it. These are great. We use them all over the shop. I think I own 8 total and need to buy more. They slide in these grooves. Some are a little tighter than others just from inconsistency of routing. But that allows you to hold down clamps, clamp in a variety of ways. And then underneath here, I just put another groove that holds it. But this rolls around the shop, mostly lives about right here. And then I have this here. This basically makes a big side vise, so you can put like a door in there, something you need to edge band, anything you need to hold on edge. That's just phenomenal for working with. So like my cart, we'll probably make a few more of these, all mirror images of each other. Working around this corner still needs a lot of work. We still have some electrical that needs to get hooked up and wired in so we can have its own breaker. Right now I keep offcuts of plywood and stuff right there. My planer lives right here where it's easy to roll out if I need it. But other than that, it's kind of in storage. While I really like having it on a folding, it's a table saw stand. While I really like having it on that, I'm probably gonna put it on some type of flip style cart just to really maximize the space because counter space is actually huge. Right here is just a cabinet that's in progress that we're fixing up in the corner. Over here, we basically took it down so we could insulate that back corner. The insulation's sitting there, still hasn't happened. And so I'm just kind of taking stuff down and insulating it as I go. Then of course, cabinets up top going across, it just holds different things. And my miter saw station. Keep a trash can handy. Box fan with an air filter on the back of it, that really helps keep the air clean. It really makes a difference, guys. It's worth spending 20 bucks on a box fan filter and then buying an air filter every couple of months and just blow it out week to week. Miter saw station. Miter saw station's super simple. Not a huge fan of my miter saw. It's all right. But to turn on my shop vac and my miter saw at the same time, instead of spending 40 bucks on one of those auto switches, we just put a power strip right there, zip tied it in place so we can turn it on and off for dust collection. And that allows us to just move this hose to other things that have dust collection on them. For my stop block system for my miter saw, you can see that I don't have a rear fence because I wanted to use my entire tabletop. And a rear fence really doesn't do anything for you for a miter saw station. I know it's been very much the trend over the years. The person who deserves credit for it is Ron Paulk. He's been doing it for years. And guys in the trades have been building our miter saw stands without a back fence for a long time. But still, same thing, using this micro jig dovetail clamp. It's just routed in here, so it slides back and forth. You can see I have some marks here. I still need to embed a tape measure. But essentially what I do is I have this block, very simple, has a little sandpaper right there so it doesn't slip. Put this in place, double check my measurements, clamp that down. That holds rock solid, and you can just slam and go. This is 36 inches deep, and you can see I don't have insulation there right now. Another power strip. Yeah, I use a lot of power strips. And that's that. This is my only deviation from that standard modular drawer I showed you, is because I needed some really long, deep drawers for things like shipping paper, stuff like that. I'm probably going to eventually do away with this whole thing and rebuild it, so hopefully next year this thing will be rebuilt. But again, just using OSB for this one. Plastic, keeping things organized. Barn door hardware and overflow stuff. And we've got drawer slides and more drawer slides. And that keeps us nice and organized. Up here is just kind of a catch-all that we've been slowly working on. Here where I keep my drills, I've got them just stood up so I can easily just grab and go. I've got my most commonly used bits on this little magnetic guy so I can just grab and go. Chargers, and a benchtop sander that right now just lives right here because I don't have another good place to put it. Over here again, just more catch-all that still is in work in progress. And then this back corner. Underneath here is my nudge area. It's junk spelled backwards. I've got some lights I need to install. My apprentice keeps his extra tools in his tool guy right there. The air compressor lives under there. That's our one super chaotic space. One thing I spend a lot of effort on are my drawers. I like using drawers mainly because I'm in a small shop, and while it would be awesome to have everything on the wall in immediate arm's reach, it's just not feasible for most of our shops. So what I do is I just have all these drawers. Again, these are really old ones from my trailer. This one needs to get rebuilt, but basically I had dividers in here for all my different bits and drivers. The next one is drill bits, and I essentially have those sorted by kind as much as possible. You know, you lose those holders that come in the cases, and it just gets hard to sort them, but they're all labeled, have them sorted by kind and function right there. And then I've got, you know, pliers, wrenches, things like that that I use day to day. And of course these are older drawers that need to get remade because you notice it's falling over. This is probably the most organized one right here. You can see that it actually stops when you get it close to open. Just keep different parts sorted, organized there. I can see my inventory immediately whenever I open it up, so I know what I need to reorder. And then other hardware, same principle. And in this one I have jigs for putting hinges on. These are the hinges we use. Whenever I get to here, notice it says reorder. That tells me that I need to place another bulk order on hinges and supplies for what we use the most of. Moving around the shop to this back wall, there's a lot going on back here. We've got my drill press on a very old modular cart, still the same footprint for drawers, so they still work. Again, older cabinets here. All this is slowly getting transitioned, and I got a new bandsaw and sold my old one because it was just not very good. But I got a, like, what would have been new, like close to $1,400 bandsaw for like 300 bucks. That was an awesome deal. My favorite thing in the shop is my air conditioner. We tape an air filter over it to keep things clean and functional and help our lungs. That filter needs to get taken and cleaned. Air conditioning in the shop is absolutely awesome. I highly recommend it, guys. It's well worth the expense. It really is. It's a justifiable expense. It's not a luxury. It just makes working in the shop that much easier. So my neighbor actually just gave me the drill press. He's like, I never use it, and if I need to use it, I can just come over here and use it over here, and that's absolutely fine with me. Made a super simple drill press table. We use this drill press for one task, and that is to drill holes for dog kennels. Everything's here. This could just unscrew. My fence is on a pivot. Instead of having a parallel fence, I just pivot this in and out because you can get further away, and then as it pivots, it gets closer because it's a single point, and it's just quick, easy to adjust. Just put an old shop vac one, taped it off to get some dust collection right there. It's a lot better than nothing, but it's not perfect. Underneath, that actually just clamps on with some toggle clamps, so you can just untoggle it and take it off and do other operations. Makes it nice. Other stuff for the shop that we don't use a lot. A lot of this is just kind of the in progress of improving. And of course my bandsaw, and then over there, dust collector. If you look at this whole wall, you'll see I've got artwork and then a bunch of different planks. My kind of goal for this back wall, oh, and a hose reel. That's also a very worthy investment. My goal for this back wall was just like, as I finish different types of wood, like offcuts and stuff, stain them and just tack them up to the wall and just have like a really cool, all the different finishes, stains I use on this back wall. And then of course my kids put their art there, so that's awesome. Moving over to this other wall, you can see my dust collector. It's a Harbor Freight dust collector. I did upgrade it with a Grizzly, I don't remember if that's HEPA or not, but it's either one step down from HEPA or HEPA. Had to retrofit it a little bit, but definitely noticed a huge difference in the air quality, and did not lose any power from it. In fact, the power is more consistent over time. This is still very much a work in progress. You notice I've got lots of turns and stuff in there that don't need to be there. We did install a door back here that makes it super easy to get to the back. And in the back is just open, horribly poured slab from the previous owners, like seriously bad. But basically my outdoor power equipment goes here and stays under this little ledge, and that needs to get put back in the right spot. But it's nice just to have this little outdoor space. On this wall is my big panel clamp. We use this for gluing up tabletops. And essentially anything else I need to glue just gets put into this rack because it holds it out of the way. I've heard other people comment on this saying, I just don't have the wall space. Yeah, the wall is about the best place for clamping stuff up. So I am more than happy. That essentially works as my clamp rack. And when I need to clamp something, I just go put it in those clamps and clamp it with 1, 2, or 3 clamps, however many I need. My little clamps live right there on just a shelf bracket, and we just put them on that coming out from the wall. And honestly, guys, I have plenty of clamps with this setup. I mean, every once in a while I need more clamps, but you'd be amazed what you can accomplish with a 2x4 and some wedges. Up here is just kind of decoration and stuff. Old sign, new sign, other stuff. While I like having some decoration in here, just the need of space is probably gonna make that go away. Moving over, I still have my whiteboard that we measure our production times on. That's a huge help of just like, you need to sketch something out, you need to track how long something takes. It's wonderful. We've got our extra extension cords right there if you need one. And that is the walls of my shop. Now let's look at our workbenches. So this is my perfectly boring workbench. It's just a simple 4x4 and plywood workbench that I made, and then again I put those modular drawer banks in it to organize stuff. You can see I've got my Fez tool stuff there, different drawers with different things in them, and then to the right I've got my shop vac, and that one is on an auto switch because I use this table primarily for sanding. You can see I've got holders for clamps on the side. Everything's drilled with dog holes, and you can tell it gets used. It gets finished on, it gets used, it gets cut into. So on my perfectly boring workbench, I have the same drawer system throughout. You're gonna see that as a common theme, and next year for 2021, there's going to be even more of these because this is the best system that I found that's a standard and modular because it can make it do whatever I want to do. I do have building my Fez tool collection. I've got my Domino right here. The Domino is an awesome tool. Very pricey, but there's nothing else like it that you can do loose tenons with. It's fantastic. I love having it. I don't use it all the time and probably should use it more than I do. But I keep it, and it's tenons right here on this one sustainer. The sustainer's nice because you can just lift it up and out. Whoop, that's kind of wedged in there right now. So, the sustainer is really nice because you can just lift it up and out, take it with you wherever you go. Keep the extra cords right here. The reason I do that and don't have it in the box is just to make it easier to grab. Tucked in right there. And so the reason I don't have the cord in the box is because I keep a cord and a dust collector on an auto switch right here. And it's just hooked up to a $40 shop vac. I don't have the fancy Fez tool vac yet. Just put a bridge right here to make it easy to, essentially just easy to put the hose up without it dragging on the floor and easy to get out. The other things I have in here are my Domino knockdown connector set. Really cool system. I'm really glad I have it. And then I've got all my sanders and things right here that I use. A little DTS Delta sander. Fantastic. Great to have. And then I have a 5-inch random orbital sander that's cordless. It's a Makita. Really like it. It's nice just to have a cordless thing just to grab and go. And this is the system I use for storing. This one's kind of the catch-all for all my other sandpapers, but you can see I've got all my discs organized. The sander's in there with a battery in it, ready to go. Same thing with my Rotex. I've got all my sandpaper right here, ready to go, organized. And the nice thing about having these like this is my trailer now has the same cabinets in it. So whenever it's time to go to a job site and do an install, I can just grab this entire drawer, throw it in the trailer in those drawer banks that are like this, and then I'm ready to go because everything's modular and everything's consistent throughout my entire shop. My outfeed table is the same Workbench, 3x6. I find that's a really good size for breaking down plywood, but it's not so big you can't reach around it. You can see I have some different modular, well, not really, these aren't really modular, but just different tool organizers that I really use for my nails and screws and fasteners. So that's right there, easy to grab. You can get it and then just close it. And then I've got a little cleat here so I can pull it out without it sliding out on me. Same thing here, got my nail guns here. This is probably going to change. Extra fittings, nail air gun accessories right there in a small drawer. Right here is just pins and pencils, screws, Craig clamp, hand clamps, accessories, jigs that I have. Right there is actually just kind of an empty drawer right now. Over here I have my routers and things. Essentially my router table is right here in my table saw. It's just a old 2 horsepower Craftsman router, and then I have a cordless Makita router that I absolutely love that I use for other stuff. But I keep my router bits right here. I bought one of these just cheap drill bit or router bit sets, and as I wear them out, I buy the premium bits. That way, I have virtually every conceivable profile, but I don't have $1,000 invested in router bits, and the ones I use enough to wear out are worth upgrading to the premium bits. And so that's been kind of my philosophy with upgrading. So you can see I've got some Diablo or Freud bits back here. Again, just drawers, keep things nice, organized, easy to get to. And then I've got another air filter box right there with some dust collection hoses that I can use for other things. On this side, this is the one place I don't have that modular cabinet, because you can see I store my track saw tracks right there, except for my longest one that still needs a good home. My Makita track saw lives right there, so no, I didn't go with the Fez tool track saw because the Makita one was cordless cost less money, and in having used both, the Makita is the equal of the pedestal in every way. Minus some little convenience factors. But here I just have some 12-inch deep shelves that are adjustable so I can do whatever I want to with them. And of course, everything is on casters so I can rearrange if the situation calls for it. And of course, like any cabinet shop, the true centerpiece of the shop is the table saw. I really love my Grizzly G0690. Great saw, fantastic power. I will tell you though that if you're gonna spend $1,000 or more on a tool for your shop and you have a job site table saw, now that I've used a track saw extensively in the shop, I would say if you have a decent job site table saw, you know, the $300, $400, $500 job site table saw, instead of spending your money on the big cabinet table saw, keep using that saw and then spend that money on a good track saw system. You'll be glad you did. Not saying this is a bad purchase at all. I absolutely love it and I love using it, but for my pure best bang for your buck thing, the track saw is definitely better if your job site table saw is pretty good. Like my rigid job site table saw is good, and I could get by with that and a track saw just fine. One thing I've added this year is really inexpensive remote controls. I found these on Amazon, and you can see it's a little on and off. And it was just like a little $15 guy that goes right there, and you can buy extra remotes for it and program them all to the same switch. And that lives right here. I've got a little remote control on my tool belt. My apprentice has a remote control on his tool belt that's programmed to all this switch. You can buy remotes with like 4 or 5 buttons on them, so you can program those throughout the shop. Great things as long as your dust collector is, or shop vac is 120 volt. And that is held up exceedingly great. Alright guys, thank you for watching. This is my 2020 shop tour. I tried to go in depth to show you really everything in here that's of note. We're going to do some updates as we go throughout the year. I'm working on a introduction to lean manufacturing course right now. It's a free just YouTube video series that I'm doing. But yeah, this is our shop. This is what we do. There's going to be, of course, changes where we go because we follow the principle of continuous improvement. If there's a better way to lay out the shop, we might completely have it laid out another way next year. There's nothing set in stone here. But I do like that modular system, and I like the more you can standardize stuff and make it modular, the easy it is to change your shop for your needs. I hope I gave you some ideas. I hope I've earned your subscription to the YouTube channel. Got some cool stuff coming up in 2020, so be sure to like this video, share it with somebody else, and subscribe. And follow us over on Facebook at Dailey Woodworks and The Business of Carpentry. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.